What is this metal object my parents bought from an antiques market in Kyoto, Japan? Around 30 centimeters long with a handle that is hollow, but not all the way through from end to end. The end part has some kind of receptacle or holder with a hinged lid that can be flipped up. It's not a pipe, as the long handle part is only open at one end. I think it is made of brass or some other kind of relatively heavy metal. The hollow interior of the handle seems to be split into two parts, and there are some Japanese or Chinese characters stamped onto the hinged lid. There is some kind of burnt residue around the receptacle part, which is covered by the hinged lid. What might this be? It's an antique Japanese yatate, a portable writing tool from the late 19th to the early 20th century that combines a brush case and an inkwell. It was used in old Japan to basically provide a portable writing unit for people to carry around with them. The person would put this item into their obi sash and be ready for use. The long tube part is where the actual writing brush would be kept, and the lidded area is the actual inkwell. The clever mechanism that people used back then was that they would stuff cotton wadding inside and then saturate the cotton with ink. In that way, the ink wouldn't spill out. What's this covering the grave from the 1840s, and why? This is the only grave that is covered like this at my local church, and I've been curious for ages. I'm thinking it could be a bike stand. Any ideas, ladies and gents? These were called mortsafes. Back in the 18th and 19th centuries, the United Kingdom had a huge problem with grave robbers digging up recently buried cadavers to sell to medical schools, where they were dissected to teach medical students about the human body. The Anatomy Act of 1832 was one attempt to deter grave snatching. It was followed by the Burial Act of 1857, which made it illegal to disturb a grave. Mortsafes were a physical deterrent. They were intended to be installed at the time of burial, and then removed a few weeks later after the body in the grave had decomposed enough that it wasn't useful for potential theft and sale. In that respect, it's always a little bit weird to see where they've been left in place on a grave. I know it's Soviet related, but what specifically? I found it at a thrift store in Idaho. Around 12.5 inches tall, 10 inches wide, and possibly made of aluminum. Does anyone have a clue about the origin? That is a crest from Soviet government buildings, made between 1956 and 1991. Prior to the breakup of the Soviet Union, these authentic crests were displayed prominently over the entrances to the Kremlin, government buildings, and Soviet trains across USSR. After the collapse of the USSR, a company called Sovietsky sold them for about $125 each. I bought one of those from Sovietsky in 1995 and still have it. What is this metal item with a lens and dial? I got it in a lot of random brass items, and I'm struggling to find info online. It looks like from the early 1900s and is decently heavy. I assume it's some type of lens thing, but I'm really not sure. Google Lens wasn't very helpful. What is it a part of? It's a lens for a graphic arts process camera. It was patented on December 31st, 1918 by Fletcher Douthit of Detroit, Michigan. These were used to shoot layouts of full magazine or newspaper pages for printing, for making posters, etc., and became obsolete around the 1970s. What is this machine I found in a very old house? It's about 4 feet tall, maybe a foot wide, and is made of some sort of heavy-looking metal that has rusted. It's pretty penned in at the moment, and I can't get close to it to see if there is anything written on it, but there are no markings that I can see. The house is full of history, and I'm sure there are more similar random objects hiding as well. Any ideas? It's an early 20th century Caron solid chisel mortiser. Here's a 1914 Caron Company ad of the machine. It's a heavy industrial woodworking machine used to cut square or rectangular mortises in timber, typically for mortise and tenon joints used in doors, windows, furniture, and structural joinery. Carron Company was a prominent Scottish ironworks, founded in 1759 near Falkirk. While best known for cannons and heavy cast iron, Carron also produced industrial machinery, including woodworking and joinery equipment, in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. What is this red wooden stick with a metal clip at the end, found in Virginia? This was behind my desk. I don't remember where it came from, and I don't remember it ever having something else attached to it. My initial thought was that it was something to hold a match. What is this used for? There is a patent number in your photo. It's a magnetic nail holder. It was patented on August 11, 1953 by Robert P. Ingram of San Antonio, Texas. It was used for holding the nail in the desired position along the surface of the object into which the nail is to be driven. What are these unknown markers in front of a memorial in an old cemetery in a field? The markers have letters, but they don't match the name on the memorial. Both memorials are over 100 years old, with the last name being Parks. I believe they are the mother and father of a few other Parks members buried there, and they passed about 150 years ago. There are also a few other small markers by the grave memorials that are upright, small granite stones with no markings. Any ideas why the letters are on the marker? It's a footstone, a marker at the foot of a grave that lies opposite the headstone. Footstones were introduced and gained popularity in the 18th century, especially in the US and UK. They were typically smaller stones placed at the foot of the grave to mark the boundary of the burial plot and help ensure visitors could read the headstone inscription without standing on the grave itself. They usually bore only the deceased's initials or a small inscription. The practice of using separate footstones began to wane in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. What is this silver slide with two curved sides? My wife bought this because she liked the look. Approximately 2.25 by 2.25 inches, with a 3/4 of an inch separation between. The photos don't really show it, but there is no bottom, it just has those sides. It is fairly heavy for its size, and there are no hinges or ways to open it. What the heck is this thing? Please let us know down in the comments. Thanks for watching. Let's make life fun.